And we're back with some more oxygen not included. And today the plan is we're going to kill this magma biome. Now there's a couple of things we'll have to take care of first. Namely, we'll have to get this down here and convert it over to an alternative heat source because the magma will of course be gone. The other thing is I want to head back over to the fire planet. Over here we have a whole bunch of niobium and that will be very useful for what we want to attempt to do next. So right now our rocket is heading all the way over to Fire Reno. This place over here, I did a little bit of maintenance before we left. As in, I bricked up a few locations. People were worried I wasn't going to brick this in and then the liquids would flow down and get in here somehow. No, it's all good. When this liquid finally overflows and gets past this point, we've bricked in all the other locations, so it should be able to flood up here quite nicely up until it stifles the tree, honestly. So I think we're good on that front. And if we ever do get to that much resin, I would be very happy. But that would take many, many thousands of cycles. All right, let's skip it forward till we get to the fire planet. We have come all this way for the niobium. Lots and lots of niobium. How much niobium is here? 229 tons. That's a sufficient quantity, I believe. You can go that direction. Perfect. They're plugged back into the grid. I think that's all we really need. So let's just grab this and go. We would like 229 tons of niobium stored up here. Oh, occasionally you see these flashes where this sort of that streak going up to the rocket capsule are coming out. That's because the rocket capsules, everything in this game is basically rendered on the one map. So if you zoom out here, these black bits here are actually, there's other maps on the other side. So that streak you're seeing zipping all the way down to the bottom right, that's because the rocket capsule is actually down here somewhere in reality. So every time they come in and out of the capsule, they're actually teleporting from here to here on this map. That's why you occasionally see that streak from the sparkle streakers. It's a graphical ditch they have it. Yep, there they go again. You just... it keeps happening and people keep asking about it. It's like, yep, it's just one of those things about this game. Alright, once everyone's finished this, we will... Oh, you guys. Yeah, once everyone's finished this, we're going to head on to the next planet. The next planet is the one over here. Smearlin... whatever. This place needs to be fixed. It's just, there's so much stuff that's broken. It's giving me too many alerts. It's got to go. Also, I want to seal up the water. There's too many vents active here, and it's just eating into our frames. We don't need any of this stuff. We already have a plan, so all of this stuff can go. We'll seal up all the volcanoes, we'll seal up all the everything, and we'll probably rip everything down. I want this place empty, gasless, and just a husk by the time we go. This little design netted us 229 tons of niobium. That's a ridiculous amount of metal. We now have more niobium than steel, and niobium is basically just good steel. It's almost the same in every respect in terms of melting point and usefulness. Though it is far more conductive and generally actually slightly better than steel in a lot of ways. And we've now got more of it than we have of the steel, because steel requires lime and all that stuff to make. This design worked out perfectly, and it cooled it all down to 25 degrees. That was a nice little bonus. So, yeah, save games are always included with these if anyone wants to take apart any of these designs. So do be aware, most of these are just, it's a pretty casual playthrough, so most of the designs are pretty rough and ready. This one, though, we still haven't got the temperature in here below 200 degrees. This whole thing has been trying to cool down all of that steam pressure from the magma biome we disintegrated, and that was a small magma biome. Our next magma biome is going to be a little bit tougher. Over here, we're gonna... Oh, we should open the doors right now. These things take about half a cycle to open because we don't have any power going to them. Oh, are we going to be able to land? I just realized there's a whole bunch of regoliths on top. That's going to block the rocket platform. Doesn't matter. We can land a dropship, cut everything out. It'll be fine. No brothers at all. Minor bit of difficulty landing, but that shall be quickly solved. Boydra to the rescue. Don't forget to also deconstruct that. Oh, seriously? Did I get you on your sleepy nap time? Well, I'm sorry. It's the end of your nap time. You'll be fine. Now you'll just have a little bit of too bright, exhausted. You'll be grand. Yep, stop being so melodramatic. Just drill that out. The rocket's got to come down. You're going to have to deconstruct that Trailblazer module as well once you've got that finished. Then we can... We'll get you out of the way in a second. Okay, perfect. Now, where are you moving to? You are... You know what? Doesn't matter. Go. Just so long as you're away from the rocket, that is fine. Whew. Perfect. Oh, and we should probably refuel up the rocket, so we'll turn these things back on. You can point that direction, and you can point that direction. Perfect. I do like that we have refueling stations located all around the map. Now, a couple of things we should probably do. Deconstruct a bunch of this stuff. We don't need it anymore. Also, let all the gases escape into the background of space. We don't care. And we also want to break up all the monuments. Liquids, I'm not so sure about. While we are dismantling this planet, there's one other thing we're doing. We're sticking in temperature shift plates made out of coal right in the center of these volcanoes, namely to stop them erupting. Once they erupt, they should heat up the coal enough that it turns into a refined carbon tile, and when that does, it'll cap the volcano, assuming we've placed it in the correct location. Then we'll get all this cobalt and junk out of here. Well, we're going to dump that in the water at the bottom of the map. We can let it cool down there, and then hopefully take a bit of it with us. I mean, there's no reason we can't take some more resources with us. The plan is to take everything, so let's just take everything. This volcano is about to erupt and interact with that temperature shift plate made out of coal. And off you go. Done. Volcano successfully capped. No more eruptions will be coming out of there. We can count that one done. We've also got that one over there finished. This one we're bricking in. We're also putting a temperature shift plate behind it. I want to make sure everything's capped off. I don't want any more of this junk taking up processor cycles. We have run into a bit of a snag. The first one was, I want to get rid of all of this ethanol. I thought we could take it with us, and I thought, you know what, we don't need it. There is no use for ethanol. Once you've got supercoolant and petroleum, it's sort of a dead product. It has uses, but really only early game, and if you don't have access to other materials. These gas reservoirs, I was just going to deconstruct them, but I figure it might actually be a little bit easier for us if we just, well, pipe all the stuff up to the top of the map first. We don't want to be releasing all that natural gas down here. It'll take forever to dissipate. We're already down to 2 kilos of pressure in most places. That would be nice. As for the water, I figured this was going to take a while to dispose of. There was no point doing anything, so I figured we just chuck down a bunch of liquid pumps. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So put down 10 liquid pumps, and just we'll pump all that up to the top of the map and dump it into the background of space. No harm, no foul. All gone. I was going to think about filtering it and sticking it to the rocket, but no need. We just don't want to leave it here because it's just taking up calculations, and it just does not fit with the aesthetic of strip mining everything. So this place, well, we also have to run power to it, so there's a giant power wire. We literally have run down a heavy watt wire all the way from our rocket. This portable nuclear reactor has turned out to be quite useful in a lot of instances. I mean, okay, we could have used this to run the power, but you know what? That's just building a whole power plant on another planet. No bother. Just bring a power plant with you. Problem solved. Anyway, let's see how long it takes us to strip mine the rest of this and get rid of all the gases and liquids that are lying about the place. 10 liquid pumps successfully installed, each one moving about 10 kilos per second, so that's 100 kilos per second total, so every 10 seconds they move about 1 block of water. So in a full cycle, that means what? There's 600 seconds in a cycle, so 60 blocks of water a cycle? That can't be right. I'll have to double check my math, but let's fast forward this a bit and hopefully drain this tank quickly. Oh, and we're also dismantling all the stuff over here and sweeping it up. There's an awful lot of stuff to sweep up, including a lot of stale pacu fillets. I moved them all up here because our cook was taking too long to go down, pick them all up, and then bring them back up to the cooking machine, or the grill. And we should probably cull a bunch of these. But I figure once the water level gets low enough, the fish problem will solve itself. We have all of the stripping out of everything pretty much done. Well, except for the liquid pipes and the gas pumps. We're trying to get this place down to as close to a vacuum as possible. We probably won't make it an entire vacuum before we leave, but close enough that it can drain itself. I really would like to kill that thing. That thing's going to keep dropping meat like it did over here somewhere. That's going to turn into polluted dirt, and then it'll emit, and whatever. It is what it is. Oh, and I'd forgotten to start hoovering up this stuff. This is all the stuff we stockpiled for later. We used auto sweepers and a bunch of things to get them all in there. I've also installed a bit of a mod. There you go. It shows all the stacks an awful lot better. I'll put a link to, or I'll just put it in the description so you can get it if you want it yourself. It just makes it so much handier to figure out what's on a tile when you have absolutely enormous stacks like this. In fact, let's have a quick look here. How are these stacks looking? And that's actually not too bad. Oh, there we go. Yep. And how are we looking over here? I have no... Yeah, it would take me a long time to go through and figure out half the junk that's in there. But we're doing pretty good. I think we have more than enough supplies that we should have our own little gravitational pull on that rocket by about now. And I, of course, forgot about this carbon dioxide geyser. I was supposed to cap this the moment that it got out from under the water. My bad. Everything else is capped, sealed, or plugged. Done, done, and done. While doing this, I've been waiting for this thing to fly right about there. Open fire. Don't move, don't move, don't move. Damn it, they moved. But I think we got them anyway. You can save the last of those rad bolts if you've got any left. That was perfect. I've never used a rad bolt to kill something before. Well, not on purpose anyway. Excellent. It just flew. It was hanging around that area and I thought we'd give it a chance. I kind of can't believe that worked. That was super lucky. All right, we're almost finished down here. In fact, the water levels got to the point where I think we can just join these two pools together. They're both, yeah, they're both pretty much of a muchness at this point. All the water's sort of flowing down. You can see we're ripping the water out so fast, it's actually caused a little bit of a lean in there from that side. And some of that polluted water is going to become free soon, and that's going to gas up the place again with polluted oxygen, but it's fine at this point. It'll all eventually go into space. We'll end up in the vacuum. The cleanup, though, is going to be killer with that many pipes. We have just gotten to the point where we've drained, well, not all the water, but enough of the water from one side that it's starting to go below 1,000 kilos at the edge. Other side, okay, that water's taking a little bit longer. Right, and some of the fish, well, our fish problem is going to solve itself quite shortly. Now, let's just give this another few cycles. It should get rid of the last of these. I never noticed all the fish flopping was synchronized before. Huh. Sort of weirdly disturbing yet hypnotic. Okay, well, that's one side done. We're going to pour the water in there. It's just getting the last of the water from each side. You sort of have to just mop it up and move it to the center, but I think we're almost finished. Oh, one piece of advice for doing mass mopping. Crank up the priority. The more duplicants you have doing it, the faster it goes. And I don't just mean that things happen faster because there's more of them. What happens is they keep leapfrogging each other and mopping up the liquid. If you have only one of them, they'll just sit there forever. Like if we just say stop that there, yep, that dupe will just sit there scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing. So you want as many as possible working on it, and they end up leapfrogging and doing far more, far faster. So high priority, multiple dupes. Reduce the priority on everything else or cancel everything else so that all your duplicants are down doing the job as much as possible. Oh, and then keep refreshing the mop command because of course you should. It took a little bit longer than normal, but we managed to strip mine the entire planet. Remind me not to open up the water vents anymore. It's just... back in the day, you'd only get 2 cool steam vents. That was the only thing you were guaranteed. Actually, back in the day, you didn't get any steam vents, but once they introduced a water source, it was steam vents, and you were only guaranteed 2 of them, and the amount of output was, maybe 1 to 2 kilos. So you used to open those up, and water was very scarce, and I just still have that in my head, and I got to realize now there's so many water sources on the map. You don't have to uncap them all. It just leads to more slowdown. Anyway, we have successfully strip mined this place. It's time to get out of here. In fact, I think it's time we headed home. We have to at least fix up the petroleum boiler. Should remember, was this the water? No, this is a swamp planet, right? What are you doing? Relaxing? No! What? You absolute Wally! Are you happy? Oh, you... It's fine. We will just change the destination and we will go back and pick you up. Muppet. I cannot believe that happened. I'd already set them to stay on the ship. There should have been no way for them to actually leave. Just go back and land and pick them up. We'll sort the... Oh, wait, wrong planet. How are we doing here, actually? We have... 87. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're up to 513 fish have been spawned so far. We have 5 tons of resin and another 296 tons over there. We're finally going to start spilling over the edge soon. This is working. I'm kind of not surprised and not surprised. Let's see how we're doing. 88 critters, 90 critters, 88 critters, 93 critters, 96 critters. I don't know if this population is slowly going down or not, but you know what? Not going to worry about it. You guys, crew up. Everyone stay inside the rocket, and the next person who tries to leave gets left behind. What's go... Oh. Yeah, okay, that one was my fault. I dropped them down in the shuttle and then I never set them back to crew. Oops, my bad. Goodbye, former swamp planet. It was nice to know you. That's one more planet we will never have to visit again. Homeward bound. It is good to be back, even if this place is still a horrifying mess. I did a few minor changes in the background, like cleaning all the polluted water out of this system. It was just a case of putting pitcher pumps where there was polluted water and setting our polluted water tank to, well, auto grab from pitcher pumps. We'll stop that for now. I also accidentally put in, well, someone peed their suit. There was some problems with the toilet backing up, so we had to de-germify everything, which means we stuck in a whole bunch of uranium ore doors to radiate the place, and we may have, well, installed a few radiation lamps to help radiate the place. Though the range on them was quite small, but if you want to clean a bunch of polluted water really quickly that's, say, about this size, yeah, radiation lamps do a really good job and do it super quick. Oh, and we've also started doing some prep work on where we're going to do our magma cooling, which is right here. In fact, I think we can turn this on. Actually, no, we'll leave it off for now. This is our little geothermal power generator, and in theory, we could just turn it on now. We don't really care about the geothermal power anymore since we're going to cool the entire magma biome. But the main thing we have to do is we have to convert this from running on a magma source to running on a heat source, usually the preferred method, or well, the one we're going to be using anyway. Is we're going to get a thermal aquatuner, and we're going to make it out of niobium or thermium, probably thermium. We got 55 tons of this stuff. And you're going to put one right about here, use that to be your heat source instead of the magma. Which reminds me, we should cap off that volcano. That should probably be the first choice. From utility, we will put a coal, chunk of coal right there. We'll cap off that volcano. We don't need to be putting any more magma into our magma pool. I have not actually checked the footage, but I'm pretty sure where these ladders were was navigable space at one point. Like, especially these ladders across here. You used to be able to walk through here, and this volcano has been dumping magma in here for so long that it's actually capped out quite a bit. That is quite nice. I did have a plan at the start of taking all the magma and making a giant, bunch of volcanoes all hooked together, but I think demolishing all the planets instead just sort of, it's mutated and become our preferred goal. Now, can anyone actually reach that? Yep, awaiting coal delivery. Perfect. In fact, considering the magma that's already there, it should instantly cap that off before it gets a time to activate in 1.4 cycles. Timing. Timing is everything. Of course, that means the duplicant will have to stand in the magma. You're fine, right? I think as long as your head's not in it, maybe, or something along those lines. Yeah, your surroundings are toasty, but they're not that toasty. Tiny little bit of heat stroke. Barely killed anyone. And done. Okay, that's the volcano capped. Don't think there's much we can do about that stuff. We can put down some temperature shift plates to maybe get rid of that magma. We'll worry about that later. For now, what I want to do is figure out how we're going to build this thing in. This new heat source is going to require a lot more space than I was initially thinking. This is sort of a mock-up design of it. There's an aquatuner that's going to heat up this area, and this here is going to be clamped to the bottom of, say, this. We'll have two tiles here, so that they're interacting with this mechanized door, so the two tiles here will provide the heat that will boil the oil. So we got to fit in an aquatuner below that, and then we got to put in a temperature sensor to make sure the temperature in here doesn't go above, say, 650 or something like that. Then when this thing generates chill, that chill has to be destroyed so that we can keep generating more and more heat. Or generate chill? Whatever. When we pass liquid through this, that liquid will get cooled down. We're going to have to warm that liquid back up again, or eventually the water will just, won't be able to, or the supercoolant won't be able to get any colder. So we got to put a tepidizer below it to warm up the coolant. Yeah, I know, that makes no sense. So this thing is going to be about 7 tiles high, and it's going to be about 7 tiles wide. So there, 7 tiles wide. We gotta fit that in down here, which would be, say, to there, 7 tiles deep. Yeah, and then from there it'd be 7 tiles wide. So we need to core out that much space. First things first, though, we want to bring in power. We're going to need 2 sets of power wires. I've got one coming in from here, one coming in from there, because the aquatuner is going to require 1200 watts, which means it needs its own line, and the tepidizer needs almost 1 kilowatt as well, or 1000 watts, so yeah, that's also going to need its own line. This thing's going to be a little bit of a problem, but we'll fit those in, and then we're going to need to bring in water, a bunch of other stuff. I'm going to do a little bit of prep work here, but I think it's time we turned off the oil. You can be zeroed out. Dupe will come along shortly and turn that off. Anyone? So this is the first time the oil has been turned off since this was built, which was 1,300 cycles ago. So this has been running for about 1,300 cycles. kind of nice. These designs are solid. They just work. All right, let's hope this replacement design works just as well. All right, we got the power in. Let's wait until the oil is finished. We want to wait till all the oil is finished its rotations so that we don't disconnect anything. And we're going to have to rip this whole thing out. I think we should be good on power while we're waiting, on the grounds that we have a nuclear reactor landed upstairs which can cover any shortfall. Yeah, I think we'll be fine. Plus we have the geothermal power as well. All these redundant power sources are working out quite nicely for us. We don't have to worry about shutting this down for a few cycles. This here is going to be the bottom of our heating section. This tepidizer is going to make sure the water in here never freezes. So this thermal sensor says, hey, if the temperature in here goes below 20, turn on the tepidizer, keep the water in here going. If this ever freezes, it would be a problem. We're actually going to route the output oil through here as well. So any oil coming out of our boiler will go through here and help actually warm this area up by dumping its temperature into the niobium tiles. And the reason we're using niobium, we have 236 tons of niobium. We have more niobium than steel. And yeah, that niobium's not going to stop coming in. How are we looking over here? We're up to... Yep, we got another 70 tons of niobium already on the fire planet. So it's not like we're going to run out anytime soon. Anyway, we're going to make most of this out of niobium, but the aqua tuner we're going to put up here once the water level gets high enough. We need the water here to get high enough so that this liquid tepidizer is not outside of water. So I think a full 1,000 kilos, or well, say 900 kilos should be sufficient. With that installed, 930 kilos of water per tile, it's time to put in the utilities. And for that, we're using a thermo aqua tuner made of thermium for the plus 900 C overheat temperature. We could get away with niobium, but that leaves us a little bit tight. Then we just do the usual when it comes to insulated piping. And nope, that's power. Yeah, you are going to go in... Oh, should the... like that, I think would probably be better. Then, yep, that can go there. So we have a little bit of an overflow system set up. This way, it constantly keeps rotating. So we're going to have to be careful when we fill this not to overfill it. That's one mistake I always make, but I think we can sort that out. Once that goes in, we can start putting in the rest of it. This whole area is going to be filled with water as well. We need to make an enormous amount of steam in here. Well, preferably a large amount of steam so that it can handle a good heat injection. You, give me a thermosensor. In fact, we'll make that out of niobium as well. We are going to be... Actually, we're even going to make the automation wires out of niobium because we're going to be incredibly wasteful. And we'll put in a liquid vent in there. In fact, we're going to make that out of niobium too. Why not? 'Tis the season and all. And we'll dump in the water right there. Yeah, so this here is going to generate a whole bunch of steam. And it's going to transfer its heat directly into that. And then we should put in a temperature shift plate. And in fact, we're going to make that out of niobium because we have, well, like I said, we got a lot of that stuff lying about the place. One niobium temperature shift plate. Done. For our next trick, we're going to do the thing I always find just so weird when you get to this stage of the game. We're going to dump supercoolant onto this line that we brought down here using a pitcher pump. Well, a bottle emptier. We got a bottle emptier and dumped supercoolant. That, you know, super rare, really hard to find stuff. Yeah, we're just chucking it around in a bottle emptier. Same old, same old. It's just, you know, a normal day. We're going to dump it down here. We're going to make sure that this is set to off. We don't want this turning on. And we're going to fill this up while the system is deactivated. Then once it's full, we'll remove the liquid bridge. And then when we activate it, we shouldn't have to worry about any bubbles forming or it clogging in any way, shape, or form. All right, anyone want to get around to building those bridges? You're going to have to excuse my duplicants. They're a little bit slow. It gets it later in the game and their brains kind of slow down a bit. I think there's too much going on the map. All right, there we go. Let's speed that along a bit. Thing is, if I place it on maximum speed, it causes a few things to glitch out every so often. And there we go. Perfect. Then we remove this bridge. We'll remove this bridge as well. We'll do a quick reversal and dump it right back in here, mop it up, and throw it back into our supercoolant storage. Now, we got to fill this whole place up with water. I want a fair chunk. I'm talking about 3 tons of water. I want massive heat capacity in here. I'm having some flashbacks to building one of these before, and this water taking forever to boil. So you know what? I'm going to cut the water in half to what I was thinking I needed, and then probably still regret it. Temperature in here needs to hit 403, so let's say 600 degrees here. Temperature is below 600 degrees. That aqua tuner kicks in. It starts rotating the supercoolant around. The supercoolant passes through here and starts cooling down this liquid. If this liquid gets too cold, it gets heated back up again by this. We're basically just moving temperature around. Actually, not quite. The tepidizer is actually creating heat. So this is creating heat, and then we're using the aqua tuner to basically move the heat from the temporizer room up to here to keep driving up the temperature higher and higher. Oh, well, we could go all the way up to about 1,000 degrees before we start encountering problems, but that's gonna take a while. Yeah, I was tempted to start maybe plug in some magma to flash start this, but I think we can leave that for a minute. There's one other project I want to take care of while this is going on, and that was the resin we brought back. We want to plug that resin into the system, so we're going to limit this to 1 kilo. So we set that to 1 kilo. Let's make that a high priority so someone comes along and does that quickly. We're going to dump the resin in here. It'll get dumped into the storage tanks, and then the resin will get pumped down here and get sent into the steam room. Now, last time I did this, if you try to just dump resin... Oh, wait a minute, I should probably go over the resin. The resin is the stuff we're getting from the tree back on Reeklin here, or whatever it's called. Ooh, wow. We have... You should be almost constantly getting full now. Yeah, we'll find out. Anyway, we have, say, 5 tons of resin there and another 1,500 kilos there. If you get that resin, you have to boil it up and it gives you some side products. And, oops, I flooded my polymer presses. Doesn't matter. Anyway, it gives you some side products. However, if you dump it out of the bottle emptier, it didn't seem to boil properly in the past. I don't know if that's been changed since. So what I discovered at the time was if you run it through some radiant pipes in 1 kilo packets, then it actually gives you the correct amount of mass every time as it comes out. So we're going to try sticking with that policy for now. Are you set? Errand is completed. Excellent. Then we're going to drop off all of the resin here. Perfect. Copy settings. We'll dump all the resin in there. The resin will get pumped into liquid tanks, and that way we should be fine. All right, someone want to get on that? Here comes the resin now. That stuff was incredibly difficult to get our hands on. Let's see. Limited out to 1 kilo per second. Excellent. Comes down here, goes across the line, immediately passes its boiling point, but nothing happens because it's limited to 1 kilo packets, so it can't state change in the pipes. And then it pops out here, and we get ourselves our iso resin. Yeah, it's given us in 250 gram packets, so it's 25% of the mass is coming out as iso resin. As far as I'm aware, that's exactly how it should be. You know what? It doesn't actually list here what it's supposed to turn into. Weird, I would have assumed acidified goo, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. We could look it up online, but we'll leave it. As far as I'm aware, 25% seems to be about accurate, so it does seem to be working. Now, that stuff is going to be very useful for a few other projects. We can make visco gel out of it, though we'll need a little bit more iso. We have plenty of petroleum. We've got 10.5 kilos of iso resin. We should have more iso resin than that. Turns into naphtha at 200 degrees. Okay, so we need to get it out of there and I don't think temperatures in there is going to go up to 200 degrees, but let's maybe take it out of there just in case. It would be preferable if we didn't accidentally incinerate it. It is rather difficult to obtain. Well, we've contained the iso resin. I made a little daisy chain system. So any iso resin that is produced here is immediately moved by that auto sweeper into this level 1 shipping container. And then from there, it's moved into this level 2 storage bin. That just makes sure it gets it out of the steam room quickly and efficiently. Then that allows us to make a couple of things. The first one here is visco gel, basically liquid locks. We don't really care too much about that, though. I mean, if you can make them, they are quite handy. They're they're a bit better than the current naphtha liquid locks we use. You can make them 2 tiles high. They're quite a lot tougher. They're quite handy. However, you usually want the insulation. The problem with insulation is it costs a lot of reed fiber. 5 units per tile. It's incredibly expensive, though it is a perfect insulator, so that's always a plus. Thing is, there's only a few reasons you'd ever want to use something that perfect. I mean, even if we go back to the fire planet over here, this is where we've got liquid niobium, which is the hottest material pretty much you're going to naturally encounter out there at 3,226 degrees, touching ceramic. Managed to get its temperature all the way up to 103 degrees, and it's been there for 300 cycles. So give it another 3,000 cycles, we might have breached 1,000 degrees, though unlikely. The higher the temperature, as the insulation gets hotter and the temperature differential between the two increases, it's going to reduce the amount of heat transfer. Pretty sure this would never get to melting point. People seem to be worried about that, but I don't think it's a possibility. Maybe over a long enough time scale, I'm just not sure how long. No. And down here I decided to speed things along. This is only at 240 something. It's taken way too long. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to build a little system here. Actually, we're going to sweep that up. We're going to build diamond window and temperature shift tiles all the way up to here, or diamond tiles all the way up to here, and a little steel airlock. That should be able to transfer temperature from here to... Oh, damn it. I just realized something. You sweep that off of there. In fact, what is that? Is that igneous rock? In fact, the igneous rock can go. Ah, I can't open the door. I want you guys to get down there and build the automation wire. Give me a minute. And diamond window tiles installed. Excellent. Temperature in here is 266. Let's close the doors. That's going to drag temperature from here, put it into the diamond window tiles, which is going to dump it into this room. Right. That's much faster. Should have done this ages ago. Alright, once you get to about 500 degrees, we're going to disengage the door. It might take a second or two to go out. And then we can turn the the petroleum boiler back on again. Come on. Right, temperature 650. And that's what we've set it to. Then we're going to set you to, actually we'll start at 2 kgs. We'll let it run at 2 kgs, see how the system eats that, then we'll jump it up to 2, then 6.5, or sorry, 2 kgs, then 4 kgs, then 6.5, and see how the whole system eats that much. Think about starting these up, you don't want to dump in too much at the start. The reason being is the counterflow hasn't started, and because the counterflow hasn't started, it takes a lot more heat to run them. And considering we're running an aqua tuner and not on a bottomless pit of magma, it might be an idea just to ease it into it. How you doing? Okay, it's sitting in. There's still enough latent heat from the last time this thing was active that it doesn't actually require us to engage the doors just yet. Come on. Wow, this has not even engaged for heat yet. You know what? Let's just crank this up to 4. I'm impatient about these things, and I usually end up breaking them because of that, but I'm not waiting any longer. Come on. Oh, and the oil pumping has started. You notice here, as it's pumping out the oil, it has to actually pass through this section, and it rapidly plummets in temperature, coming out the other side at 90 degrees. Perfect. What's the temperature in here? 24. This means we don't have to turn on the tepidizer as much, because this is heating that output up. So we're basically we're going to end up with colder petroleum coming out than we normally would. It's not necessary, but it is a minor benefit. Actually, no. I don't know if it's a benefit at all. Depends on your definition of a benefit. Some people would prefer hotter petroleum coming out. Hey, what are you at? Temperature sensor's at 403.3 degrees, which means this just has to go down another 0.3 and it should actually start drawing heat from this system. But I think we're pretty safe. How much we got going through? Still 2 kgs. That 4 kgs is going to hit though in a minute, is it? Yeah, here it comes. You can see those slightly bigger blobs in the line. That means this door is going to engage right about now. Perfect. Temperature injection complete. Wow, went up to 407.9. Maybe it's the niobium. You see, the reason I use gold tiles here, very low specific heat capacity, meaning any temperature that goes into them, very little of it remains. So maybe it's the diamond temperature shift plates that got me. I shouldn't have put in that extra one right there. That's heating it up way too much. I'd be worried it'd break the stuff in the pipes, because that thing's going up to 406.7. I think we can take the temperature on this down a bit then. Actually, no, wait. We'll go up to 6.5 or 6500. And we'll see how she evens out. Excellent. It is now perfectly stable. Though, I had to make a few minor changes. When I turned the temperature down to 600. Turns out we didn't need it at 650. I was being a bit paranoid. You can see here the temperature spikes up to about 4.4. 1 degree above what it's set to, which is 403. Then, as you can see, it just slowly cools down to about 402.9. Door engages. Cranks right back up again. The more this door is engaging, the more efficient you're being. And you should be just feathering it, just gently dumping a little bit of temperature in at all times. I've also increased the throughput to 7.5 kilos, namely because I forgot to turn off the oil wells while we were modifying this, so the oil kind of backed up. And what I had done was I was keeping the oil perfectly level about here so that I could mop up all of the petroleum that was coming out of the molten slicksters. I'm beginning to think maybe I should just move the molten slicksters somewhere else. That might be an idea. Then we could filter the oil before it moves somewhere. But that seems like just a minor fix that I'm not bothered doing just yet. Oh, and meat-wise, I think our base is just swimming in food because of this. This whole setup here is ridiculous. That's how many critters are there. You couldn't really see it before, but now that we've got that little mod, that is just so many. There are just too many. There's 5 Drecos right there in that tile, and a glossy Dreco. Up here we've got 6 pip eggs. Oh my god. 16 hatches, 20 sweedles. A sage hatch, 3 stone hatches, 4 sweedle larvae, 7 pug slugs. 7 pug slugs. Okay, sorry, 7 plug slugs and a sweedle eggs. There's just ridiculous amounts of meat coming out of that. Oh, and this I believe we can cut. Yes, there is 2 power spines going through there, so this happens every so often, though I don't think we need the plastic anymore. Plastic-wise, we have 710 tons of plastic. I think we are definitively very, very safe on the plastic front. Guys, anyone want to... Well, once they replace that, it's fine. All the water is going to flow down here into our cold liquid storage tank. So far, we've had the occasional splash into this section, but we've managed to manage it. Okay, done. Having a nice nap, are we, Whoopi? Come on. Come on. Yep, they do this all the frickin' time. It's like, do you ever have those duplicants drop something when they're doing a build task or something, you want them to do something and they drop it because they get called to lunch? Narcoleptics are that. But you get it to happen twice every day. Instead of once them dropping everything and buggering off and doing something else, they do it twice. It is very frustrating. Never again. I'm never doing a narcoleptic run again. It's not the worst in terms of people, pawns dying, but it's just a case of they learn everything slower and it interrupts everything so many times. Okay, this is now completely fixed. Well, completely fixed. It's independent. As long as we provide this power, we will always have petroleum. Well, we're also going to have to provide manual labor for those oil wells. There's no way around that. But I'm thinking next up, yeah, I should have got around to this already, but unfortunately I got distracted, of course. So now it's time to cool down the entire magma biome. I'm thinking a nuclear waste cooling solution. I want to give it a go. It should be incredibly fast, and we should be able to just rip this out. We've sort of got several planets done already. Let's see. Smirilium is bored. That took longer than I was expecting. Sorry about delaying get the episode out, but this took a little while. A lot longer than I was expecting. The fire planet, totally cored out as well. That is perfectly clean. We don't have to go back there unless we want niobium. Water planet, hydrogen, completely cored out. Just done. Though we might send... I wonder if we... I think when we make the second rocket, I might send it back here and try and cram that entire ocean into it. I think we can cram the entire ocean into that in under 100 cycles if we do some shenaniganry. Then we've got Reeklin, which is our tree planet, and it's done. I mean, okay, we got to go back and core out the last of the magma down here. This broke because of some mistakes I made, but that's fine. I learned from those mistakes. I'm going to leave on this steam turbines, and they're going to eat as much heat as they possibly can. So we should be able to break this down without having to come back anytime soon. Though we will want to return and pick up the resin. You notice here, this thing is actually pretty active all the time now. It's getting to that point where it can't eat all the fish we're producing. There is 4,000 calories right there, all super chilled down to minus 62 degrees. And as these fish increase, we're just about hitting that point. I mean, once this hits about 100 units, I think at that point this tree will never stop eating again. It will just stuff its face all day, every day, and produce us resin. And hopefully so long as we keep cooling down the fish pacu, the pacu fillets, we'll just end up with more and more pacu fillets just sitting there, deep frozen. That still leaves 2 planets, though. There is this one, which we have to go and core out, but I don't think there's anything special there we need to worry about. And this one here, which is the regolith planet. I would like to get my hands on any of the shovels around here for our second rocket. So there's basically those 2 planets that need to be cored out, and one other planet, this one. And once we've cored out all 3 of those, we'll have acquired all the mass from the entire system and then leave. I kind of want to leave it so that even if you did try to continue, there'd almost be nothing you could do because there'd be no resources to build anything with. That would be kind of the theory, though. I would sort of like to leave almost a base behind. Just sort of a message for future duplicant generations. Sort of a, we were here, but, we left nothing behind for you, which is how it should be. And someone was suggesting we leave someone behind to oversee the place. And I was thinking... Well, there was a duplicant that had been here for a long time already. I wonder if they'd like to spend an even longer time here. Though that seems kind of cruel. I think we should take all the duplicants with us when we leave. Anyway, sorry again about the delay getting this out. It's just, this was over 100 cycles of playing, and it's just the game's getting that little bit slower, so I need to start scheduling more time for each of these episodes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed them. Good luck.